Hi, I'm Janet Glynn. Welcome back to Close to Home, Southington's February Basic Block of the Month. So in February, we're going to use the Creative Grids corner clipper to make our red corners. We're going to start with a pinwheel. We're going to add our opposite sides for our square and a square, and then one more square and a square, which is the white one. Okay, so a couple pieces going on here. All your cutting directions will be given to you with your kits. Okay. So this is kind of how we're going to break down the block. So the first thing you want to do is make your pinwheel, and I'm going to show you, we're going to make oversized half square triangles, and then we're going to cut them down to size. It helps get a nice point going, and then we're going to take our blue square. We cut that on the diagonal twice, and it makes our 4 squares right here. So we'll put opposite sides together, always pressing outwards. And then the last piece, we're going to take 2 of our white squares. They're going to be cut on the diagonal just once, and we're going to add our creative corner clippers to the red spots. So let's get started. So what I've done is I've cut the pieces that we need, and I've already started to cut some of the pinwheels. The multi and the green, like I said, get cut a little bit oversized. So these are 4-inch squares, and we're going to wind up with 3.5-inch half square triangles. So I've done that. What you're going to do with your squares, you're going to make 2 of the green, 2 of the multi. You're going to put the green on top. You're going to draw your diagonal line on your green square. You're going to sew on either side of the line 1/4 inch, and you're going to go ahead and cut that in half. And that's what I've done here. And I've gone ahead and pressed, after I cut this apart, as you can see, I have a half square triangle. I press toward the green. So let me show you how you can easily cut these down to 3.5. So today I'm using an 8.5 by 12.5. It works great for cutting our large squares. It has a 45-degree angle in the corners, both in the solid 1-inch corner here. So these are 1 inch in either direction with a 45-degree mark. But because I'm cutting a 3.5, I'm going to be going from the half side. So you notice the ruler has a half mark to start. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this 45-degree line right on our seam between the multi and the green, making sure that we have extra fabric, little excess along the outside and just past the 3.5 mark on the inside, because we'll cut these 2, we'll turn it 180 degrees, and we'll put it right on the line and trim it. So let's go. So I have a little bit extra. So I'm going to take these away, and notice my 45 is right down the center between my 2 pieces. So now we need to trim the excess on the 3.5. So I'm just going to pick up my ruler, turn it 180 degrees, like once again, put my diagonal line down the center between the 2 pieces, line up my nice trimmed edges with the 3.5 solid mark, and now I'm able to trim these 2 sides. This makes putting your half square triangles together so much easier, and they will be 3.5. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but on one of my blocks, the way I organized my pinwheel, I had the green and then the multi in this corner, and it went around in that direction. And then in this one, I had the multi and then the green, and it went around in that order. It does not matter. You're just making a pinwheel. So once you get your 2 pieces together, what I did in the center of the pinwheel is when I went to press it, that very last one, when I put the 2 and 2 together, I pressed that open because there's a lot going on in the center of that pinwheel for bulk purposes. So go ahead and press that seam wide open, okay?
Can we see it?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So here's the back. So that very last seam, everything got pressed. So these two units got sewed together and they got pressed to the multi. These two units get sewn together and it gets pressed to the multi. So I have locking seams, which means one of them's going in this direction and in this direction, so that when I put these two together, they really do lock in. And I sewed at 1/4 of an inch, and then the very last one I pressed nice and open. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next thing we want to do once I get our pinwheels done is, I'm going to grab these, is we're going to sew our square and a squares together. So we're going to do opposite sides first. So the easiest way to do this is to take your blue triangle and actually match the point along this seam. So you'll know it's right in the center. So that point gets put right in the seam, and this line right across here gets matched up perfectly with the edge of your pinwheel. Okay, so let me move it over a little. There we go. So once that point is on your seam, I know that it's centered and my two edges are right on top of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and sew 1/4 of an inch. It's really important that you hit that valley, so when this opens up, you're going to have plenty of room to not cut off your points. All right, so let's do one side. I'll come back and do the other. And then after we're done sewing, we're just going to go ahead and press them toward the blue. Okay, so checking that I'm in the center, checking that my two fabrics are right on top of each other. Use my 1/4 of an inch. Try not to flip your seam. If that was the one that was pressed open, let it stay open. If it was pressed toward the multi, then let it stay in that direction. So pressing is extremely important in quilting. Knowing which way to press and how to press. All right, so I have that one done. I'll go ahead and do this one. So once again, put it right on the edge. Make sure that point is right on the seam and you are lined up with your fabrics on the edge. Very important that both your top fabric and your bottom fabric are right on top of each other. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay. Maybe scoot it this way just a tad. Work it until it's centered. Okay, and you don't want to pull on any of these bias seams. You see how much that stretches. Try not to pull at all. Just lay it right on there. And again, I can't stress enough that when I got my kit and I first started to cut my pieces, I put Mary Ellen's Best Press on there. Very, very important. Okay, keep it nice and starched. You can really feel the difference. Okay, so these two get pressed toward the blue. So if it's getting pressed toward the blue is on top, and just give it a little bit of heat and a little bit of heat, and we'll add the next one same way we just did that one. Okay, so now these two are going to be done the exact same way. The point of the triangle is going to go right on the point of the seam, and we're going to go in that little valley and out that valley. Okay, so let's do that real quick. Making sure we're lined up. I knew it. Okay, hold on. Let's try again. Alright, and out the valley on the other side, which is coming right in there. So you see what happens when I come out this intersection right here. When I go to press that open, I get a nice straight edge on my side, which is going to help when I go to put my white piece on next. If I go a little bit to either side, you're going to get a little jog in there, and that's what we don't want. All right, so again, we're pressing toward the blue. All right, and one more. So we're going to lay our last piece down, making sure the point is right in that seam allowance, lining up the blue with the undersided pinwheel, and I have my little notch on this side, and I'm going to come out that side. All right, let's try it one more time, and then we'll get to the the corner clipper. Okay, so let's as I approach, I'm really going to aim for that little notch and come right out that intersection. Okay, and we're going to press that, and then we're going to go over the white real quick. Okay, so a little bit of heat, and we have a square and a square. So our blue forms the outside of our square, and our pinwheel is now in the center. And you'll notice that I have nice straight edges going across. You don't have to cut off your dog ears, it's fine. But I have enough room so when I put my white piece on next, I won't be cutting off any of my points. Okay? So Heidi, come on over. We're gonna talk a little bit about the last round of square and a square. So what we've done is we've cut our pieces according to the directions that you'll be given, and we're going to place it, these were cut on the diagonal ones, and we're going to look at our 90-degree corner. We're going to place our red square right in the 90-degree corner on top of the white. Okay? And what we want to do is we want to put our tool on here and trim and go sew. And it's so much easier if you can do all that in one motion. No line drawing, no pinning, anything like that. So we're going to lay our folded corner clipper in the 3.5 inch mark. So the bottom of my red square and up the side, it hugs that corner, and at the top you'll notice I have a little bit of a blunt edge on my ruler that goes along the top of my white triangle and my red square. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the corner, and I'm going to sew at 1/4 inch, and we're just going to flip it open. And that's all there is to using the corner clipper. It's pretty simple. You could do this, you can make a corner any size you want. Just cut your square accordingly. All right, so the trick on this one is to make sure that you start, I'll do it on this side, that you start your thread, your seam, right at the point of the red. Okay, so it's got to go through that point all the way to the other side. So when I come out the other side, you can show them that side. Nice 1/4 inch, keep your edges together, and out it goes. All right, so here it came out the point, and it started on the point. All right, so that's going to help keep our edges nice and straight. So once we have this, again, be very careful of any of the bias. And we're going to press it toward the red. So if it gets pressed toward the red goes on top. We're going to flip it, and I have a brand new corner. And we're going to put these on exactly the same way we did the blue. We're going to find our center with the point of the red along the seam of my pinwheel, and we're going to line up the edge right along the edge of our blue. Okay, right on top. So that looks good. So you see I have a little bit of a notch on this side. It's hard to see with the the color of our mat. But here I have a little notch here, so it's going to go through here, right down out that side. And that's going to provide us with a nice straight edge and a place to put our blocks together. So I'll sew that just to show you. And again, we're going to do opposite sides. We're going to make all 4 of these and put them on opposite sides. If you wanted to sew this from the other side so you can see that intersection, you can. I just put it on this side because I'm pretty sure I hit it pretty good. And here we go. So then you press that open and you don't cut anything off. You have a nice straight edge. So we press these in that direction. So you're going to do a white with the red tips on either side, and one last one at the tops. All right. So that's what we've done here. I've already made my corner clipper corners and opposite sides pressed toward the white. Okay, and that's it. That was an easy block. So again, start your kits before you cut them. Look very carefully at the cutting instructions because some are cut on the diagonal once, some are cut twice, some lines are drawn on the diagonal once, so you just want to make sure that you do it very slowly and follow the directions, okay? February 2021 basic kits can be picked up at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. That's Saturday, February 20th. Bring your finished January block to get your February kit free. Okay, don't forget your blocks. And you have up until March 19th to get your free February block. But again, bring that January block with you. If you have any questions, call me, 860-793-6639. We'd be happy to help you out. All right, have a great time. Bye.